Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I look a little rough right now. I just woke up, took a shower, and I thought I'm going to record this video because I've been asked a lot of questions, and actually a lot of people have asked me to record a video like this. First is first, how is everybody doing? I'm glad you guys have stuck with me even though I have abandoned all of you. I'm really sorry. I know at one moment I was like trying to build my YouTube, and then out of nowhere I just let it go. Anyways, so I've been asked a lot, how did I decide to do respiratory therapy? How has the program gone? What's the hardest thing? Like, how have you gone through it? And what's the process of getting in? So first, I started as a CNA at the hospital. I know a lot of you guys know this because I've mentioned it in previous videos. I started out as a CNA and I thought I wanted to be a nurse, but then I really in the hospital, if you start as a CNA, I recommend it because that will open doors and that will kind of give you an idea of where you want to be. At least that's what it did for me. So after I hung out more with the respiratory therapist, and then Elias got RSV and I watched them do what they do, that's when I fell in love with respiratory therapy, and I thought, I want to do that. I want to do something like that. So yeah, that's how I decided respiratory therapy. Now, how did I decide what school to go to? I did a lot of research before I enrolled anywhere. I did a lot of research on how much is their program, how long is it, how many clinical hours am I going to get, what certificates am I going to graduate with, because every school is different. Not every school offers the same things. So those were things I researched. There was only about 3 schools that I could really choose from, and that was Concord, Pima, and Pickens here in Aurora. Because there is no schools close to me, so I commute an hour and 30 minutes to school every time I have class. Because there's really no options for me, So that is what I had to do to commute. So the way I narrowed it down was Pickens is like a traditional community college. Yes, it's cheaper. It's like $12,000, but the program is a full 2 years, 24 months, so a full 2 years. And they send you to a different college to do your prereqs first before you go and do their program. So that was just one thing that I just thought, that's just going to take me too long. I'm very slow at learning by myself, and prereqs, that's basically what you do. So I just didn't pick it just because I knew if I did that one, I was going to be stuck in prereqs for another year. So then I looked into Pima and Concord, which are 2 of the most well-known colleges for medical careers. So the way I narrowed it down with Pima and Concord is that I did have some coworkers that went to Pima and some that went to Concord. And some really liked Pima and, would recommend it. And others really liked Concord and recommended it. So that's where I was kind of stuck, is that they really liked both schools and how they ran. I think the only cons with Pima Institute and why I didn't go with them is their price. Their price is just insane. Their tuition for respiratory therapy is $60,000. And I think their program is a little bit longer than Concord. I want to say maybe 21 months. So that was another reason why I didn't go with Pima. I wanted something that wasn't as expensive, and I was going to be done pretty soon. Not soon, but not years later either. But they're all associate's degrees, so they all do the same thing. It just depends what your time is and what you want to go for. So Pima I didn't pick because of the price and the length of the program. So I can't really speak on Pima and if I would recommend it or not because I didn't go there. I did meet some students in clinical rotations who did go to Pima, or who are enrolled in Pima, and they really like it. So then I looked at Concord, and I saw Concord was an 18-month program. So it's it's over a year, but a little bit less than 2. And it's also an applied associate's degree. And what also stood out with Concord is that they offer 900 hours of clinical rotation. That's a lot. Like, that is, I'm pretty sure Concord is the only school, or one of the only schools in that area that offers that many clinical hours. Another thing that stood out to me was with Concord, you graduate with your ACLS, your BLS, your PALS, and your NRP, which are all like basically CPR, but with different, adults, neonates, and pediatrics. So, and those are like top 4 things that hospitals usually ask you for. They'll train you for these, of course. If you go to a school that doesn't offer these, your job will train you to do that. But jobs, you really stand out if you have all of those done. So that was another thing that kind of led me towards Concord, was the length of the program, the cost, the clinical hours, and what I was going to graduate with. So yeah, that's how I picked my school. I did end up going with Concord, obviously. And at first I was kind of like, I should have been somewhere else, when I struggled because of how fast it is. It's an accelerated program. Like, that's what you guys need to remember. It's accelerated. It's really fast. They don't wait for you. If you're behind, you're behind. And try again next term. So you really have to keep up with Concord. That was a little hard for me, so I did think like I should have gone somewhere else. But now that I'm in my last term, I graduate next month, I don't think I would have gone anywhere else. Despite, every college is going to have their pros and cons. Despite the cons, I don't think I would have gone anywhere else besides Concord. So your prereqs, I get asked this a lot, of how your prereqs work with Concord. You can transfer prereqs if they're already done. So I think what's really cool about Concord is that your prereqs are included into the 18-month program. So the first term you do like 4 classes, you finish those. The second term you do another 4 classes, you finish those. So they make you finish their prereqs within a timely manner. So after you finish your 2 terms of prereqs, you head on to your first RT class, which is RT 210. And I think, good morning. Good morning. Which I think is one of the hardest classes, because it has so much information, and there's Nova, and here's Elise, and you're so new to this. Like, this is something new for you. And when you go into this class, it's very intimidating, because you're learning about new devices, you're learning about gas laws, you're learning about just all the scientific stuff behind respiratory therapy. And you're even thinking in this class, like, this is really boring. Is this for me? Like, did I pick the right career? But that's only 210, I promise. That is one of the classes you really have to push yourself, because it's so much material and it gets super frustrating. That is the only class I ever had to stay up past 11 studying for exams, just because of how intense that class was. But trust me, after you finish 210, everything from there is like, not a vacation, because your other classes are pretty hard too, but they're not as bad. 220 is patient assessments and chest x-rays, which I really enjoyed that class. It was super simple, super easy. Just that one was a vacation compared to all the other classes. So I really liked that class, 220. Just remember this, patient assessment is the biggest part in your whole career. Like, you need to know your patient assessment before you can do anything, because that will tell you what's going on, what's the problem. So patient assessment is a really important class. Our instructor was very fun, so we did enjoy that class a lot. But that was really it with 220. It was pretty laid back, pretty nice. After 220, you head on to 230, which is ICU, intensive care. As a CNA, intensive care really intimidated me. But then I got to do clinicals as an RT, and I fell in love. When I started the class, I came in with a mindset of, I will never work ICU ever in my RT career. I will do floors, I'll do NICU, but I'm not doing ICU, adult ICU. But once I did my clinicals, I just fell in love with ICU. Like, it was just so rewarding, yet so, it's sad, but when you extubate those people, it's so rewarding. So ICU is one of my favorite classes. This is where you learn about mechanical ventilation and vents and just all the, the bread and butter of your career. is what you learn in 230. I really enjoyed 230, and if I could retake any class, it would be 230. So then you head on to 240. After you finish 230, you head on to 240, and that is your NICU Peds. So when I originally started the program, I wanted to do NICU, which I still do, but I wouldn't mind going to do ICU. NICU is just, I think it's frustrating and hard to enjoy because it's not a hard class. I think it's just hard to enjoy and frustrating because everything you have learned about adults, pressures, normals, ABGs, blah, 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 set it aside for a second because you're not going to, you are going to use it in 240, but the numbers change. Respiratory rate for NICU and peds are different than adults. Heart rate different than adults. And some of their PHs are different than adults. So I think that's kind of where it gets frustrating, is that you've spent all this time remembering all these normals, and then when you get to NICU peds, it's like, these are wrong, but they're not. They're different because their bodies are so much smaller. And everything is just so different with them, and things can go bad so quickly. So you really got to focus in this class and just chug on through. But it's not a hard class. So when you're done with 240, you finally get into 250, and that's where I'm at right now. I wouldn't worry too much about 250. I'm stressing about boards, but this class is really review. It's to help you do good on boards. It's to help you succeed. Ask a lot of questions. Use all your resources. It will definitely help you. So if you have messaged me on Instagram thinking about joining the program, do it. I recommend you do it and invest in your education, invest in your future, invest in something for you. RTs are a high demand right now. It's really needed in the medical field. So if you have messaged me, if you have messaged me about questions, like, should I do it? Is it hard? Do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I know I've been told that a lot by different ITs. But believe me, if I did it, anybody could do it. If you push yourself to do something, you could do it. Like, I believe in you guys that have messaged me. So yeah, that really contains the video, just really explaining how the program works and how everything is flowing and So study tips that I did throughout the program, a lot of flashcards. Flashcards were my best friend. And I would grab the study guide. I did every single study guide. And keep every single handout, everything you have learned in a binder, and separate it by each class, and don't throw them away. Keep them. Because that will help you for your boards. But yeah, so one of the biggest things that helped me was I would grab the study guide for the exam that the teacher would give us, fill it out, and then I would create my own Quizlet. I wouldn't use anybody else's Quizlet because, sometimes that information can be wrong or different or has changed. So I would create my own Quizlet with my own study guides, and I would study the study guides on Quizlet. And I know it's kind of the same thing as reading it on the piece of paper. But on Quizlet, you can take the little test, and it'll ask you like questions about your study guide and the answers. And that's what really helped me is studying or quizzing myself on the study guide. So then when I went to do my exam, I tested myself on this. It's blah, blah, blah. That was one of my biggest helps was Quizlet. And then also I've been messaged about prereqs. Some of you are currently in your prereqs. I just want to say, definitely pass your prereqs so you could get into your RT classes. But don't stress about them once you get into 210. Do not stress about your prereqs. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about how I got through it, what to expect. And if you're in the program right now, good luck to you. It'll go by quickly, and it'll be here instantly. I know it feels like forever, but it will be here quick. I've been through it. I know it. I know how it felt when I first started, but it comes quick. So prepare yourself. Have a good day today. We'll see you guys in my next vlog. Bye.